The organization, International Association of Women in Radio and Television, is actually an old organization. Very fast. It started actually here in the US in the 1940 as radio, International Association in Radio. And we are happy enough to have our long-standing member, Leila Doss, who was a member from 49, with us here today. Let us give her. Okay. After that, the organization has grown first to Europe, and now we have expanded to all continents. Our board consists of Kenya, Norway, India, Zimbabwe, UK, US, and Malaysia, and Tunisia. So we are a very international group.
We decided to leverage the international presence of the organization, the International Association for Women in Radio and Television. You can all hear me, I'm sure, right? To get some sense of gender parity of men and women, or, you know, between men and women in the media globally. The magical thing is that Iawrt has all these chapters, as Greta just mentioned. It would take a lot of financial resources to do what these phenomenal ladies sitting around me have done. Had we not have this global membership, my congresswoman is here, welcome. We have certain strengths as an organization, which makes us really powerful. I tell you something, we fight, you know, we fight a lot, but we get the work done. You understand? Right? Part of this exercise was not only to collect data, but also to build capacity of our members who had never done research as intense as what they have just done, but may or may not pursue it as a career path. So that it is an 8-country report. It's really major. It's hard to do, you know that, to skip around from country to country. You know, you'd send somebody from one place to the other. We didn't have to do that. But we decentralized the work and leveraged the strength of our organization to do this.
So we wanted our own niche with what has not been done, what has not been that much charted and talked about. And that included everything that was not news at prime time considered for radio 6 to 9 and 13 to 15 hours of the day, and for television 6 to 11 p.m. in American hours, right? So that was our niche, and we used the content analysis, which is pretty close to what has been done on news before, but again, we used it for non-news. We used closed quantitative and open qualitative coding. We looked at basic programming data about things like producer, format, content, languages, subtitles, and also, very importantly, at who speaks in programs. And in terms of who speaks in programs, we wanted to expand from gender, which is our main issue, into other human social justice aspects, and those included sexuality, age, ethnicity, and ability. We also looked at other features, names, professional titles, roles in programs and in society, and context of first appearance of those who spoke. But what you will hear today will be a little bit of, you know, we'll give you a taste of the basic programming data and who speaks in programs, and we will give you our thoughts of what our quantitative and qualitative data actually means.
And we also looked at the role in society, but we don't have that here, but it was also another code that was very interesting, and that basically meant that we asked the coders to judge what that person, who that person represented in terms of societal roles. So if someone was even if someone was an expert, but came to the studio as a mother, for example, and talked about, you know, cooking or something like that, then that person would be coded as role in society described through family status. So even if that person was, I don't know, signed underneath, you know, CEO or something for a female, and then that person, but the questions would be all about, you know, family roles and stuff, societal things connected to family, that would be marked as described through family status. But these further findings will be in the report that we will have ready in about a month.
People who of various ages, of various ethnicities, of various levels of abilities, and we didn't have that data, but we do have it in the report, are not represented, do not have a voice, are not included at the table of the conversation.
And we've learned a lot. I think just watching just attitudes. We coded a lot of dramas and soaps, fictional programming in our research, and what we find that there's a certain stereotype. It comes across over and over again, especially with younger women. It's this sort of, a lot of characters are you know, at a certain age, it's a woman, and they're very over-sexualized. You know, they cheat and they're manipulative, they're a bad character. And it's so interesting to see how many times while we code that this sort of stereotype comes up. And it's a very big problem. In South Africa, if you're an older woman, and especially if you have children, you have a lot of respect. So men would actually think more of you if you're older, married, with children. So it's so interesting to see just, it's a subtle sort of attitude, and you know, media is important. Because if you don't look at what you are projecting on the media, you can't change it. You know, and I think as women working in the media, it's been actually very valuable because we can actually go out and change that.
The United States was opposed to it. Remember, this was under the Clinton era when there was a lot of liberalization of selling off the frequencies and things like that. They were opposed to it because they basically had the attitude that the power to control the media belonged to the people who own the media. So later when they did their follow-up, they chose some areas of concern to focus on at Beijing +5. I spoke to the members of the delegation and I said, why isn't Section J one of your priorities? And they said, well, we can't look at everything. And I noticed that Clinton didn't even ask any women from the Federal Communications Commission to be on his president's commission, which is all federal employees, on the status of women.
We try to talk, and also we also conduct the research about the gender in that station, but they still consider that the program, the woman is mostly that the politics is more important, so it's the house also that we use strategy to help.
Frieda, it is possible to make a difference. It is possible to, you know, to actually make yourself heard if you try it. We don't try it. We complain about it, but we don't try it. So if, like Frieda said, if you keep downloading certain programs, it will be noticed. Or if you find something very objectionable, you should just write to the channel. Or, you know, when you find these findings, when you study these findings, you should write to your public television and tell them that it is disturbing us. Why is it like this? And I can tell you, private channels are scared of TRPs, and public channels are very scared of public opinion. Yeah. So you have to tell them that you matter, that your voice matters, and it will make a difference.
Good, thank you.
So I was just saying to Rachel that UNESCO wants to congratulate the International Association of Women in Radio and Television for this excellent research. Iawrt is an active member of the Global Alliance on Media and Gender, and we just really want to congratulate them for the excellent work they're doing. The research, I've listened quite keenly to the research results, and I realized clearly that these are preliminary results. But UNESCO, we are quite impressed with the results. We think that the study addresses an important research gap in terms of looking at the public service broadcasters and in particularly the actions of governments. Because we have two seminal research studies which we have been talking a lot about, which is the Global Media Monitoring Project looking at media reporting on women or gender equality issues, and of course the International Women Media Foundation looking at women working in the media. There's a big research gap. Over 200 countries made a commitment in Beijing, all right? And these countries are also members of UNESCO. And so we have been working, we have launched a global survey on media and gender, looking specifically at the actions being taken by government. For those of you who attended the side event,